summer we're starting the EdTech Journeys on Tour, or the EduTravel podcast. First up is Pori. Let's roll. Jari Multisilta, very welcome to the podcast. This is a very special interview for me because we have a very interesting background together. And before we go into that, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself a little bit before leading up to the year of 2007, when your very particular research project started that brought us together a few years later.
Yeah, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. I started my research like when I was doing my PhD thesis at Tampere University of Technology, and I always wanted to do something with learning and learning technologies. And at that time, in 1992 to 1996, I was creating a hypermedia-based learning environment for mathematics, and it proved to be very successful in Tampere University of Technology, and I think I was pioneering on that area at that time. There were similar things going on around the world, but we were like doing things together, and that was the same time, or at about the same time when World Wide Web actually was established, and I turned my interest to more and more in using internet and web for learning, and that somehow has been like my research area to how to use technology, network, web, and all these mobile technologies for help people to learn.
Yes. So you have a mathematical background. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because that's very interesting, because it has quite little to do with the project that then I got involved with, which was about digital storytelling. But tell us more about your mathematical background and then your transition maybe to then what you started doing in 2007.
Right. I was studying mathematics and computer science. So I think that those two topics gave me thinking tools. So these 21st century skills, what we speak today, so those both mathematics and computer science gave me like tools to think and develop new ideas and all that. So although I've not been doing work with mathematics, I've been doing work for enable people to learn mathematics, and then later on this like the subject of learning didn't matter that much, but the tools and the technology. So I consider myself like educational technologist, although I have this mathematics background.
When did that start to happen, the talks about 21st century skills and maybe tools over subjects?
Yeah, that was I think early 2000, when people like realized that there is a lot of potential in these new ICT tools that we have. It's not anymore like doing things with MS-DOS, but you have graphical interfaces, and you have well, we had CD-ROMs at that time, and that of course opened up a lot of new possibilities with for example video, to include video in CD-ROMs and show in that way you can like demonstrate the topic what you are learning much more, but yeah, I think in early 2000 we started to talk more about more about tools to help people to learn with the technology.
And then a few years later, maybe you can narrate a little bit what happened in between the early 2000s and up to 2007 when you traveled to Stanford University as a visiting scholar. Tell us more about that transition first, and then your experience and the idea that you got. Was it at Stanford University?
Yeah. So after 2000, after I did my PhD thesis, I got the professorship from Tampere University of Technology, from the distance campus from Pori, and I established my own research group there. So it took a couple of years to build up the research group and the capacity to create like research. And I got 2, 3, 4 very like sharp guys and ladies to work with me, and we were doing smaller and bigger projects on educational technology. And then came the opportunity to go to the Stanford, and that was actually like a larger thing in Finland. So all the Finnish educational technology and education researchers decided jointly that we would like to work with the people who are like in the top of the world, in the highest ranking university that is possible. So we would like to create the contacts there and work together with them. And then the first connections to Stanford was made, and soon after that I got the chance to go to Stanford for a short period, for a 6-week period at that time. And I was there like absorbing all the tech ideas and all that. And I was attending, actually, I think it was the first Google Developers Conference. Okay. And they had a tech demo there. They asked to take a video with your mobile phone and upload it to the YouTube. That was really new at that time.
So this was in
2007.
Yes.
So I did that in the conference in San Jose in a big conference hall. 15-second video. It took like 15 minutes to upload it to the YouTube. But anyway, I was thinking that how could I use this in my work? How could I use this to enable people to learn better? And it was that summer at Stanford when I realized that actually making videos is a very good way to learn new things. By making a video and with your video explaining to others what you see or what you think, or make you like help you understand some phenomena or so on. So at that time the technology was very limited, but the idea was there. And then we started to, in my research groups, we started to develop the idea of the mobile video experience.
Yes. So paint a picture about the landscape. How was it back in 2007 with YouTube and social media? The App Store boom hadn't really started. It was about to start in the US, in what you were observing and absorbing. How was the US situation at the time when it came to mobile technology?
Right. 2007, the summer was that summer when iPhone was launched. So nobody actually had very good experiences on mobile phones or how to use mobile phones, except calling and sending text messages. And iPhone actually opened the possibility to create apps. Well, first it was only Apple-made apps, but later they opened the system. I had Nokia phone at that time, and it was one of those Nokia multimedia phones, so it had apps and kind of multimedia capabilities. But anyway, the Facebook was new. It was really new at that time. People didn't know how to use, or it was totally different way of using Facebook at that time. All these things were so new, and it was just starting to find out how to actually use the social media.
Yes, I remember on my side I was doing my master thesis field research in Colombia precisely that summer of 2007, and started uploading my first, let's say, videos from the field research with this digital camera, and uploaded a few videos on my YouTube channel. I created a YouTube channel, but then never did anything about it. So they're still on my YouTube channel, but the first ones we never continued in any way. I didn't know how to use YouTube, so I just left them there, nothing happened. And the same thing with Facebook. I think I started my account in 2007 and didn't start using it until 2009. Didn't know what to do with it, just something that people did. And then something, so this is very exciting because you were then already starting to research about things, a social phenomenon that was about to emerge. It hadn't emerged yet. It was not like you were late at the party, so to say. Usually research comes very late. That was also something I was very impressed about when I was invited to get to know your research many years later in 2014, that you had actually already created a prototype, a website and an app, which was not common practice in the research field in general. And I had also declined a PhD opportunity because I did not want to get behind the desk for another 4 years, and I wanted to be in the field and do like real research projects at that time in the slums of Colombia with technology that I also started learning about in 2008 thanks to a visit to Sugata Mitra's office in Newcastle University. So I had these kind of ideas about not doing the research part because it was too theoretical. I wanted to do something related to field research, something practical, and then with technology, and didn't really know what until I got the opportunity to see a fantastic opportunity in Finland a few years later. But before we come to 2014 or 2013, when I started with EdTech in Finland, what happened then? You had this idea, you saw, you can upload videos to YouTube. A 15-second video takes 15 minutes to upload, but still there's an interesting technology emerging. And then how did that become a research project, and then on a national level, a big project? Tell us the story about that.
So 2008 and 2009 I was with Nokia Research Center at Tampere, and the research there was more or less using mobile media for working, and mobile phones for work. But there was also a lot of discussions going on about experiences. So in Nokia we believed that people will be sharing their experiences with the mobile device, and social media was not the hot topic at that time yet, but anyway we understood that people will be sharing like videos from concerts and pictures from many places, and there, like my thinking, I got more clear vision of what I'm aiming to, and at the same time as I was at the Nokia, I was still leading my research group in Tampere University of Technology. So my researchers there were building the first version of movie, like the code base of the movie. And the first experiments were related to experiences, and the first idea was that we will share videos and improvise. So if you send me a video, I can see it and I can improvise my own video based on what I see, what you did, and the analogy was kind of jazz music. So if you are playing this theme and then I'm doing a solo, and then you are next and you will do something similar but different. So that was the first idea, like quite maybe more experience or art project than learning.
That's fantastically interesting, because with a mathematics background and then to digital storytelling, you have also this very creative field of jazz music involved. And maybe you can tell us this teaser story about piloting the movie app at the Pori Jazz Festival, wasn't it, in 2006, 14, 16?
It was at that time. We did some video stories there, and but obviously that time the network capacity was not what it is today. So in big crowd events, there was like lag of uploading the videos and all that. So, but we found out that people like to share things using the video. And actually the next thing was that I was back to the Stanford in 2010 with Hannele Niemi from the University of Helsinki, and we started to create an idea of larger research project on sharing the experience and using mobile technology for that. And we realized that experiential learning theory would be the one that obviously fits to this picture. So the pedagogy was there at that point, and that's what we did together with Hannele. And we also talked with Google folks and we talked with Apple people and shared our ideas and got good feedback. But we got really good feedback from some of the schools in Bay Area also, and some schools wanted to try out our movie platform at that time, and we got a quite large funding from Academy of Finland and Tekes for developing movie further, and we got partners from Greek and Spain and some other countries and schools. So we started to experiment with the stories that kids created in these schools in different countries. They shared the stories and they learned from each other by sharing these stories. And some of the stories were based on the local history. For example, in Greek, the students created videos about Greek mythology and those stories, and that was the time when there was a lot of financial problems in Greek, and some of the stories helped actually to talk these kind of difficult issues to fifth grader or sixth grader, so it helped in that way.
And how did you connect with Hannele the first time, and how did you then decide to do this research project together, and then you later published a book, first in Finnish and then in English, and then a series of I don't know how many articles all in all about this specific movie research?
We knew each other from previous research projects, but we went to the Stanford at the same time, and we were sharing the same room there, same facilities. So we started to talk and found out that there is something what we can certainly do together. So that was it.
Fantastic. So that was a fantastic combination because I know Hannele is very focused on developing new pedagogical models with or without technology, but very much focused on the pedagogy and the productive learning processes. And then you had this very strong technological background, which made a perfect combination that I also firsthand got to experience later on. So then how did that then evolve your own research path? If you go from back to 2014, you published the first book in 2014, so you did the research before that, and then how did your research develop? And let's say that we can take a spectrum from the digital storytelling, the YouTube, social media boom, mobile applications, and then all the way now to artificial intelligence, which is the big topic of today in 2023, more than 10 years later.
Well, from 2010 to 2014 I was with Hannele in the University of Helsinki, and the mobile video experience was the big thing, but also like gaming and using games for learning was another topic that we started to look at, and it was new thing. I would say that the driver for that was the Angry Birds app, because Angry Birds was big thing at that time, and we were talking with Rovio people and they indicated that they would like to use Angry Birds characters for learning, and then we also started to look at learning, gaming for learning. And after Helsinki, I came back to the University of Tampere, to Pori, the Tampere University of Technology, and we did some serious gaming kind of research projects. For example, experimenting with apps that support or give you positive feedback when you are doing work somewhere where nobody actually gives you that kind of positive feedback. For example, janitors. So their work is typically quite lonely, and if they do their work well, nobody notices, because that's the expected level, like it's clean and the dustbins are empty and all that. But if not, they are probably getting some negative feedback. So we created an app, and the idea was to use some kind of artificial intelligence already there, but nowadays it wouldn't be considered as artificial intelligence. But anyway, we were thinking that maybe using this kind of app that gives positive feedback to this kind of workers, this could keep their work motivation up. And yeah, we did some limited studies and got promising results from the research. But and we also did another project in the hospital environment, where we studied how like patients, when they are discharged from the hospital back to the home, what kind of things they have to do to take care of their disease at home, or if they had a wound or something, how they have to take care of that. And typically that's a place where the nurse is telling you that you have to do this and this, but you are not allowed to do that. You can't go to the sauna, for example, for 2 days or something. And then the person probably is thinking that, who will get me back home, and how do I manage back home alone, and all that, and he or she don't remember anything what the nurse told. So we tried to put gamification to that point, so that both the nurse and the patient like has a gamified environment where their learning or the patient learning is tested, and both the nurse and the patient realizes that this can be improved using this gaming method. So we did this kind of experiments, and yeah, we learned a lot. And the major lesson was probably that gamification is quite personal thing. Something what you think is like motivating game, I might think that it's not motivating for me. So having this kind of game or motivation by game elements is difficult. And nowadays I'm trying to learn German, and I'm using a product for that, and there are many gamification elements in that environment, and some of them are okay, but some of them are that I don't like. So
yes, I think the challenge with gamification and gaming for learning or for different industries as such, or that you cannot really generalize solutions for everyone. And I think this is maybe where the opportunity also comes for artificial intelligence to create its individualized learning or development paths, and depending on the needs and the user behavior. And what would be your take on the possibilities versus threats when it comes to artificial intelligence? And if you can touch upon some of the experiences in your research that you've had, and then maybe before focusing on your present work as a principal of the Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, and then we can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I think that we have to learn how we apply artificial intelligence in like every sector in our life, also in the learning. And if I think about the student who is doing, for example, his or her thesis using AI, using ChatGPT, for example, it is not that you write there that please write my thesis on this and that topic. Well, you can do that, but if you want to get something really meaningful out of the ChatGPT, you have to make right questions. So you have to understand your topic so that you can make the right questions. So I think that learning always starts by making the right questions and making enough questions. And when you make a question, you have to quite deeply think your problem or your task. You have to divide it to the parts, and you have to like evaluate if the answer you got from the artificial intelligence is it valuable, is it useful, and maybe it like makes you ask new questions. And this is actually exactly the same thing that we wanted to do with mobile videos. So we wanted that people start making questions with the video. So I think that artificial intelligence is a very good tool if it's used in this way. And maybe there are other ways to use it for learning, but at least I have identified this much.
And do you have explicit guidelines at the University of Applied Sciences of Satakunta, or how do you work with artificial intelligence in general, or do you leave it up to the teachers? Maybe you can summarize a little bit your role there since the last few years. Sure. How many years have you now been in this present role?
I've been 5 years, since 2018 as this role, and AI is new thing. Like in the last year we have been talking about it, and actually all the universities of applied sciences have created guidelines together. So we have shared guidelines for using AI, and I think that it's good that we have those guidelines right now, but we have to review them like systematically over time, like next year, because things change so fast. So it is not a stable situation, but it's somehow this is the base.
And what's your experience now when you're not as connected to research full time as before? And how connected are you to research? How much independent research voluntarily do you do to keep up? Because I guess when you were such a pioneer back in 2007, before anyone knew anything about even YouTube or Facebook or social media, really. But now the development technologically goes so fast that we can't really keep up as adults. What's your take on that? How do you stay connected with the development? Do you have a very hands-on, up-to-date approach, or do you try to take a more, let's say, general, holistic step back to just observe or control from a distance? Or how would you explain your relationship now to the technological development that goes so fast?
I'm still invited to do evaluation, for example, a PhD evaluation, and that's a great opportunity to learn and to see where the research is going on at the moment. So that's very good. And sometimes I have also time to do reviews for scientific journals. So that keeps me like in some position to at least understand where the research field is going on. But my own interest is like one level higher. In Finland we have like a big digital transformation project going on in the universities and universities of applied sciences. It's called DigiVision 2030, and the aim is to create one platform for all the higher education institutes, where we share our courses and students can take courses from any school actually, and it gives a lot of opportunities for doing higher education in totally new way, but it gives also a lot of challenges. And I've been doing small research with some of my colleagues in SAMK about how teachers are experiencing this digital transformation project that we have going on right now. And I think that the main observation is that it didn't start 2 years ago, but it started 20 years ago or even earlier. And there has been small incremental steps that has been done in SAMK and other higher education institutes. And now we are in a level where we want to deepen our understanding of the pedagogy that will be possible with this new kind of platform.
Exciting times ahead, in other words.
Yeah, but it's also 2 steps higher than the pilots what I've been doing in earlier my research.
Yes, yeah, and I think sustainability is a key word there also, to make sure that what we develop is not on a hype level, that what is trendy now, is it AI or metaverse, or on a very technical level, but really on a higher level, on a, let's say, sustainable human development level. And to finalize this session, I would like to ask a little bit about your session tomorrow. So we are now here in Pori, your hometown, after having met in Helsinki. Was it in 2014 that we started collaborating, taking the movie project forward to a commercialization project? And then you have been back for 5 years. And Pori is a very special city in Finland. There's now this Suomi Arena event, which is the largest political and democratic event in Finland for this entire week, from Tuesday to Friday. And you have a session tomorrow, and maybe you can summarize a little bit about what Pori is, and then the event Suomi Arena, and then your role and your event representing Satakunta Ammattikorkeakoulu, or the University of Applied Sciences, tomorrow.
So I think Suomi Arena is a great opportunity to meet people, to initiate and start discussions on many societal topics. Like this year I think we have many key topics that are really the matter a lot for a county like Satakunta, and many places in Finland have the similar problems, and one of the problem that we will be talking tomorrow is how we get like skilled people, skilled workforce. Is it by education, or is it by getting people from abroad to study and work in Finland, and how that can be done? What kind of challenges we have there? How can we help? And I think part of this is that how can we get information from the industry and businesses about what kind of workforce they need, what are their needs actually. Because I think that University of Applied Science has to work for the industry and for the businesses, and we have to hear what they are saying, what their needs are, and for that purposes this kind of event is very, very good.
Excellent. Yeah, I will definitely be there and see you and listen to you and your colleagues, and look much forward to getting to know this event this afternoon as well, and then the entire day of tomorrow for the first time actually in my life. So very excited about that. Any final words from you, Jari, to educators and principals around the world that might listen to us? What advice do you have regarding, let's say, best case practices from Finland, from Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, from your days back working with Helsinki University and Tampere Technical University, and other universities that you are still related to?
Yeah, I've been like following how the young people use the social media nowadays, and what we once thought that will be great tool for learning, like the technology, has turned out to be poison for some kids. So there are people who like live only maybe for the social media, and they get so many bad things out of social media. I feel sad to see how technology in many places nowadays is used. There was a great hope that bringing technology to the schools would motivate kids to work for the school issues, and nowadays there is a lot of discussion going on that maybe kids should leave the mobile phones out of the classroom, so that it won't distract them for the learning.
Yeah, this is a very important topic. Let's take a few minutes on this as well, because I'm very curious about hearing your perspective, being a pioneer on a research level, because as a practitioner as well, 10 years ago I was, for example, as a very concrete example, complaining about my mother's lack of use of the smartphone, whereas my son's other grandmother was learning how to use WhatsApp to be able to see our son grow up by video. So to see videos of our son from the day he was born basically to the age of 8 years old, she has a video of him growing up because she knows how to use WhatsApp for video communication, whereas my mother never learned that. And now, 10 years later, I'm on my mother's side trying to talk about the positive side of the pedagogical application of technology. I've been asked to speak quite a lot. While I was first trying to promote a technological tool, I was understanding that people did not know how to use it productively. So then I've been talking more about the pedagogical side of technology and the power of pedagogy in a digital world, and also following the statistics of how isolation rates, hospitalization rates, even suicide rates are only increasing among teenagers since 10, 12 more years back. And that there's a lack of understanding of how to use technology productively since the arrival of the internet. So we talk about education 1.0, and we haven't come to 2.0, whereas web 1.0 has come to 2.0, 3.0, metaverse and artificial intelligence, and it's so sophisticated, but we don't still understand how to use education 1.0 productively, meaning the consumption of information, learning how to navigate the internet, the jungle of information, only consuming first before we even start creating. Then the young generation gets lost completely when they get access to technology. For me, it's also like giving a kid sugar and not learn how to manage the intake of it. And when the adults cannot even do it. So our generation, my generation of parents, cannot use a smartphone productively. Is stuck with looking at emails over the dinner table. And that's a societal problem that well, I think it's a result of the technology being so new, and biologically we haven't matured enough. We haven't used our human intelligence enough to be able to use this technology, not to talk about artificial intelligence. And that's also where I am very strongly worried, and also on your side when it comes to looking at how productively we can use this technology. And that then it also comes to the, you're free to comment freely. I don't have a specific question, but maybe rather the question would be looking at Sweden, what they have decided now to pause their digitalization project. And since I have Swedish origin as well, I've been following how badly the digitization project has been since many, many years. Whereas we in Finland have had very good application, with the teachers being highly educated as a strong pedagogical filter against what comes into the classroom, versus, for example, in the US schools where you have technology everywhere. Maybe you can comment on this in general, and then what your recommendation would be on how to look at technology. I saw some research or studies saying that they might be looking at increasing the age from 13 to 16 for social media as a law in the US. I know there's a conversation about that. And I don't know what your recommendations or your thoughts, if you try to give some comments on this in general.
Well, I think it's not the best solution to make like law-based restrictions or limitations, and I think we should learn to use the technology responsibly. Well, while I was at the University of Helsinki, it was called Cicero Learning Network, and part of that network was also the brain scientists. And I think that nowadays we need even more the brain scientists to help education people to take control of the technology, of the technological based tools. So I think we gave the tools, but we didn't teach teachers enough to teach how to use those tools. We realized that kids don't know how to use the tools in pedagogically meaningful ways, but somehow we didn't get our voice like big enough, so that we didn't have enough resources to teach teachers to use technology in a responsible way. So
I think that's the way to go also, and I'm very happy to have connected with you again after a few years, and I would be looking forward to also reconnecting with Hannele Niemi soon to see if I can have her side also. For the teachers, we really need strong voices, strong, let's say, researchers who are also active practitioners with practical research, and also as yourself now as a principal at the University of Applied Sciences, which is really the strength, I think, of Finnish education in a nutshell. We are very well connected with the universities, the research, also on school level, and we need to push even more on that, I think. And I will be very curious at hearing what the new politicians have to say about measures to be taken. And then following also your story, I would be very happy to be able to come back to Pori and visit you again at Satakunta University of Applied Sciences. There's an event today. Maybe you can mention a little bit about what's happening at your University of Applied Sciences today or tomorrow. And then I'll be happy to close this session for now.
Yeah, there's been many networking events going on around the city, and today the city of Pori is hosting one of these events in our premises. So that's a good opportunity to meet the ministers, for example. I hope to meet the Minister of Education and chat with her a little bit about these issues.
Fantastic. So I'll try to come as well if it's possible. But for now, I would like to thank you very much, Jari Multisilta, for your time today. And I will definitely be looking forward to having a follow-up.
Thank you.
Maybe after the summer.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.